Okay, welcome to 100 crochet stitches on 100 Fridays. We are going to learn the next new stitch tonight. So we're going to jump right in. This is probably one that some of you have heard of before or done before. It can be adapted in several different ways. So that's why I want to go ahead and do it kind of early on, because throughout the next several weeks, we will learn other adaptations of this stitch. And so this is a really good base stitch to know and have in your stitch repertoire of crocheting. Tonight we're using one of the little Craftices sample packs. Again, 100% acrylic, so the wash instructions, no ironing, no heat. Be very careful with these ones. But I'm going to use this purple color for that. I'm also going to switch up needles. I know that you guys are getting used to me teaching you with the H, and that is a good beginner one that I like to use. But tonight, if you're following along and doing exactly what I'm doing, I'm going to use the I. Number 9, 5.5 millimeter. There you go. There you can see it. Number 9, the I. So this is a little bit bigger needle than the H that I typically teach with. So you can see there, the H and the I together. But I'm going to go ahead and use this one tonight. And so if you want to upsize with me, feel free. All right, tonight's stitch is the shell stitch, also called the fan stitch. Again, it has a lot of adaptations. The shell stitch can be used so many different ways. So I want to learn this one tonight and have it in our stitch bank so that we can do lots of the adaptations as we continue to learn 100 new stitches. So the first thing we want to do for the shell stitch is chain a multiple of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. That thread kind of busted there. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to make a little swatch about that size for our blanket that we're making. And so I'm going to end up doing 24. Then we're going to chain 1 extra stitch on the end, just 1, because we're not going to work in the stitch next to the hook. So we want to make sure we have room. So chain 1 extra stitch, a multiple of 6 plus 1. Now we are going to skip the first 3 stitches from the hook. So there's the 3 that we're skipping. And then we're going to put 3 double crochets in the 4th chain from our hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, you'll see the reason we skip those first 3 is because that acts like a double crochet. So now we have 5 double crochets in this one stitch. We're going to skip the next 2 chains. So there's 1 and there's 1. We're going to go in this one here and we're just going to single crochet. So go into your stitch, pull through, and then pull through both on the hook. Single crochet into that one. Then we're going to skip 2 right there and right here, and we're going to put again 5 double crochets into this stitch right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's our 5 double crochets right there. We're going to skip the next 2 and then do a single crochet. Skip the next 2. Put 5 double crochets into this stitch here. This first row is hard to hang on to. Your needle may slip out of the hoops like mine is. There's really not much to hang on to at this point in these chains, but I want you to just try because it will get better. We're going to skip the next two and single crochet into this one. The first row of the chain is always the hardest, I think, on any project. It's always starting out that is the worst. Skip the next two. Again, 5 double crochets into this one here. There's 4. Here's 5. Then we're at the end. There's the two last ones. So in the very end one, you're just going to put 1 single crochet so you can turn around. Just like that. Okay. So when we look back, here's kind of what we have. 4 little shells going back like that. So now we're ready to turn around and go back the other direction. Okay, so going back the other direction, there's what it looks like after your chain. You've skipped the first 3, then you've put 3 double crochet into the 4th from the hook. That gave you this first shell. Then you skipped 2 on your chain and put a single crochet. Then you skipped 2 on your chain and put 5 double crochets. Then you skipped 2 on your chain and put a single crochet. Then you skipped 2 on your chain and put a 5 double, all the way down. So there's the first shells from your first row. Now I'm going to show you how to turn and do the shells across the second row. So we've turned here. We're going to chain 3. That's our first double crochet of that row. So we're going to put 4 more into this one right here. So there's your shell. You're going to look for the center of this shell, which since there's 5 double crochets in a shell, 1, 1, 2, 2, there's the center one. So you're going to go into that stitch and make a single crochet, just like that. Then you're going to double crochet into that single crochet right there that was in the middle of those shells on the last row, and you're going to put 5 double crochets into that single crochet. So there's the shell. Look for that center one again on top of this shell. Do a single crochet. Look for that next single crochet right there. Put 5 double crochets into that single crochet. Again, the double crochet is the yarn under. Go in the V and pull through. Pull through 2. Pull through 2. I know we go over that a lot in the videos, but I know sometimes it can get confusing when you're first learning a stitch and you forget now which is the double crochet or which is the single crochet. So sometimes I just like to reiterate so that you're aware of it. Again, in this shell here from the first row, look for the center double crochet, go into it and put a single crochet. Look for the single crochet that was in the middle and put 5 double crochets into that. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into the center, a single crochet, and then just a double crochet into your end here so that you can turn onto the next row. turning on to the next row, you're going to chain 3, put a double crochet into here, put 3 more, looking for that center of the fan, and it's right there, center of that shell, single crochet into that. Look for your single crochet right there, put 5 double crochets into it. Looking for the top of that shell, put a single crochet into the center of it. Looking for that next single crochet, put 5 doubles into that. So this stitch is super easy. You can see how these little shells are getting made. When you put these 5 double crochets into this single crochet, it fans out. That's also why some people call it the fan stitch. And you can just see that you're just working in the tops of every shell, you're putting a single crochet, and in between the 2 shells in that single crochet here, you're putting the 5 doubles. And you just repeat that. When you turn your rows, you just want to make sure you're doing your chain 3 and your double crochets on the end so that you can keep your ends straight. But honestly, with this stitch, a lot of times, the ends will just straighten out themselves because that shell is already right there showing. So like here, this is the shell right here. We're just going to single crochet into this edge here. And that's the edge. See right there? So you're just trying to work those edges all the way up on either end, making sure that you're not dropping any stitches or leaving anything behind. On this one, you've got a half shell there, and this chain 3 from the first row makes that straight edge right there. This is a really fun stitch for like sleeping bags. I like to make mermaid tails. It's really fun to make sweater sleeves out of because it looks almost like lace when it lays out flat. But there's the shell stitch, and you can see those shells forming. You've got a shell here, then a shell here, then a shell here, and a shell here. So every row, these shells are right here, and then in the other row, they're right here. And then the other row, they're right here. And so when we come back this direction, there'll be a shell here and here. And it's just, the shells just pattern up like that as you keep going. So super easy stitch. I'll put the pattern in the comments. I hope you enjoy the shell stitch. Let us know if you make anything with it or what you do with it. And we will see you next Friday for the next stitches in our Road to 100.